And go. There we are. You are live again with me. I'm Pastor Borghardt and Thor. Hey, Thor. Want a treat? He's asleep. We've got Bible study today. Matthew 24 we'll be going through as we wait for a few of our friends to show up. It sometimes takes a little bit for Facebook to kick in with all those notifications. And so I know you missed me yesterday. How could you not? I missed you. Somebody took a day off. A much needed one. Hi, Erica. Hope you had a wonderful birthday, Erica. Felicity, Carol, Michelle. Look at this. The gang's all here, William. Bobby Joe. Maggie. I have to get Thor woken up if Maggie Newton's here. Hey, buddy, you're going to have to sit up. Hi, Gene. Good to see you. Colonel Davis is here. And Kathy Ward. One more share. I am resting. You're resting? You're not resting. One ear's up, one ear's down. Come here, boy. Come on. Come on. It's off your head, bud. You're falling down on the job, Thor. Falling down on the job. All right. Would appear that one of my other friends has gone live today, too, right at this time. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to watch him because we're together. Hi, Jim. How's it going? Hi, William. Notepad's ready for writing. Kathy Ward's here. Good. Remember, this is a conversation. This is not a monologue. If I wanted to have a monologue, I'd do a video short. You can check those out daily off the Higher Things YouTube page. But hi, Steve. So what we're going to do is going to have our continuing conversation on the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 24. If you have a question, go ahead and include it in the comments, and I will answer it as I see it. I'm well rested. I hope you're well rested. I hope you had a wonderful Memorial Day, remembering all those folks who, there's my boy, who gave up their lives for the freedoms that we have to give back to the government during the quarantine. All right. Matthew 24. That button's right here. All right. And I want you on the top, so there you go. 24:1. All right. I don't know. I think, Jim, that worldview everlasting is its own thing. Hi, Sue. Good to see you, Mom. All right. So now Sue's here. We got to get started. Jesus went out and went from the temple and came, and his disciples came to him saying, point out or show to us the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said to them, Blepeteu, all these things, you see all these things, right? So this has got a negative answer. Hi, Suzanne. This has got a negative sort of thing. So it's a strange construction. Blepeta, panta, tauta. Don't you see all these things? Or you see all these things, do you not? Amen, I say to you, there will not be one stone left on another here. All will be thrown down. or there will not be one stone left upon another here that will not be thrown down. There you go. Sorry. So they leave from the last chapter. Hi, Linda Kimmel. I hope you had a wonderful time, and I hope you told Pastor Anderson hello for me. So they leave the temple, and they're like, "Ooh, show us the buildings." And his take on this is, I hate it when I do that. We'll tend to that later. Hi, Colonel Davis. Their take on it was, and his take on it is like, see these things? You see all these buildings? One stone will not be turned upon another. And this is one of the reasons why liberal theologians think that this had to have been written after 70 AD. I think it doesn't have to be written after 70 AD. I think it was written before 70 AD. But when you nail the destruction of Jerusalem this well, and you're an unbelieving theologian, then you must have advanced knowledge of it. And the only way to have advanced knowledge of it is to have it written after 70. But you know how he has advanced knowledge of the destruction of Jerusalem. He's God. Duh. And so, you know how this happens. He knows what's going to happen with Jerusalem. One stone not turned up, one stone left not on the other, because he's God. And also be aware of the fact that he is quite capable of also what was right before. In Mark's gospel, before this sentence, one thing's not going to be able to be one stone on the other, is the shaking down of widows. In this gospel, that's mentioned and referenced along with all the other woes. The religious leaders don't care about actually comforting troubled consciences. They're more concerned with padding their pocketbook. They don't really care about the temple. They care about the gold in the temple. They don't care about the sacrifice. They care about the gold for the sacrifice. They don't care about bringing forgiveness to people. They're more concerned with what's going on with money. And so he leaves the temple and he lets them know this will not stand. This is all going to be turned one stone upon the other. And so as we enter into the eschatological stuff, the end of days stuff in Matthew, I want you to sort of understand the context of it. Jerusalem will be destroyed because the church has walked away from God. He begged the church, "Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how I longed to have you come over to me, and I will tend to you like a mother tends to her chicks, but you will have none of it." And so heavens are going to fall down on you. And they did. And they did. All you need to do is read about the destruction of Jerusalem. And you get the awful truth of how unbelievable. Hi, Christopher. Of how utterly unbelievable the situation actually became. But we'll get to that in just a bit. Oh, that is just, yeah. We'll get to that in just a bit. I'm going to drink out of that. Let's roll, shall we? And as he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him alone. The expression is kat idion. By themselves. That's a great sort of, or by himself, saying, "Tell us when these things will happen, and the signs, and what signs Ta seis parousias, of your coming, and of the sun telios, the end of the age. So tell us, okay, so like, you don't just drop the bomb. Come on, come on, come on. Not a thing. The treat is over there. I'm forcing him to get up to get the treat. So, tell us the end. So you don't get to drop the bomb about Jerusalem being destroyed and not tell us the end. Okay? Hey, buddy, jump in the bed. Jump in the bed. We'll get in the bed. All right. He's a good dog. He's just... We had a few days off. He's not used to working. Hey, buddy. Oops, missed. And he answered. Well, let's see what Jesus says. 4. Blepeta, look, unless planesa, someone deceive you, or in this proper Southern, someone deceive y'all. Teleos is the Greek word for end, or perfect, or complete. All right, so see that no one deceives you. For many it will say to you, in my name. Many will come to you in my name, saying, Ego eimi ho Christos, I am the Christ. And they will lead many astray. Come back here, buddy. Stop scratching your back. And your adoring fans want to see you. 1, 2, 3. Get in your bed. Sit. What a good boy you are. All right. Yeah, exactly, Pastor Lestico. We'll get into the specifics. We'll get to the specifics of this in the destruction of Jerusalem in a bit, but I think you have enough here when you understand that that there. First off, don't be deceived. Many are going to come to you, and they're going to say, "Guten Tag" as well, Ethan. They're going to say, I'm the Christ. And they'll say it in his name. They're the Savior. And they will lead many astray. And you will hear, or you're about to hear, you're about to hear wars and hearings of wars, rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for it is necessary for these things to happen, but the telos, the end, is not yet. And when we sort of talk about these things, we have to understand how we understand the last day. Okay? When we talk about the last day as Lutherans, daring to be Lutheran, and you're watching a Lutheran Bible study, when we talk about the last day as Lutherans, we talk about the last day the way the church has traditionally talked about the last day, the way the last day has always been talked about, which is from understanding things which are certain to understanding things which are uncertain, things that are clear to things that are unclear. Okay? So the first thing we want to talk about is the things that are laid out, like Jesus lays them out here, as he lays them out in the Gospels, as he talks about the last day in 1 Thessalonians, as he talks about the last day, as like Peter talks about the last day. So we're going to talk about things in terms of clear words, and then we will go to things that are a little bit more complicated, which is the book of Revelation. And so Lutherans read Revelation through Matthew, not Matthew through Revelation. because we go with what is clear and crisp and indisputable. So in the end, there'll be wars and rumors of wars. There will be many people standing up and saying, I'm the Christ. No, I'm the Christ. I'm a savior. No, I'm a savior. And they will lead many astray. We're going to talk about things first in the very clear words that Jesus gives. And then we will interpret Revelation through those, as opposed to starting with Revelation, which you're like, I don't understand a word this says, and then reading the other stuff through it. Are we clear on that? Oh, and he has absolutely no shame when he wants his back scratched. As you can tell, the young pup wants his back scratched. I thought I said wars. Did I say viruses? That's okay, Felicity. Hi, buddy. I wish people could see your face. For nation will rise up against nation, Gentiles against Gentiles, kingdom against kingdom. And there will be hunger and famine and pestilence or plagues. If you're looking for this, Felicity, this is the word that you would say pandemic. Loimoi, which is pestilence or plagues. The ancient world would have considered COVID-19 a plague. And seismoi. We don't have Sandra Dean here today, or at least I haven't seen her, for her to get mad at me, but you know what seismoi is. That's seismic activity. That's earthquakes. Kata topos, according to place. But all of this is just the beginning of the birth pains. So like all the things which people are like, and it doesn't take believers to do this. It takes unbelievers too. They see a plague or an earthquake or a war or someplace where I feel like I should wear a mask because I just spit all over my screen. So if we were together, I would have to wear it. But all of this is just the beginning of the birth pains of what's to come, not the actual thing. He's just getting warmed up. All right. I mean, that's what's going on. Earthquakes, wars, rumors of wars, seismic activity is just the beginning of the end. Hold on to that. Because I'm about to free your mind and the rest will follow. You know the song, right? I'm going to sing it for Lustico because he's waiting for it. Free your mind. There it is. It just happened. All right. Right. That's coming. That's just the beginning, though. Churches were filled after 9/11 because people believed that the end was near. Oh, look who it is. Too late. Cindy, I just sang. All right. Little volume adjusted there because when I hit that free your mind, it got a little high. So I wanted to make sure that, I didn't blow out your speakers there. All right. These are just the beginning of the birth pains. And then they will deliver you up paradosusin. They will hand you, Erica, is nothing sacred to him? Yes, because 90s songs are sacred, Erica. How many times has the world been about to end? I wonder, Sue, I know you Pellegrinis, you start the recording and then you're done. But I really think the Cuban Missile Crisis, the world was going to end. When I was growing up in the 80s, we had the nuclear test drills where you would hide underneath the desk as if the desk was going to protect you from thermonuclear destruction. In the 90s, it was the Gulf War. Saddam Hussein was this was Armageddon was about to happen, and that repeated in the 2000s. Remember, the world was going to end on Y2K. The world was going to end with the Mayans in 2012. The world is always going to end. The world is always going to end. Somebody already believes the world's going to end. And the pandemic, have you stepped out during the pandemic and thought, oh my gosh, the world is ending? Hurricanes would blow through Texas when I served there, Houston area. And one time it got so bad that we didn't have power for 2 weeks. Gas places were closed and the like, and it was surreal. It was surreal. I thought we were in the dark ages or something. It was like when life gets surreal. I had to drive 100 miles to fill up gas tanks for the generator. Just do the math on that. Yeah. When I'm around Lestico, I want the world to end. That's different from the world going to end. That's a Newman Lestico joke. Hello, Lestico. All right, continuing on. They will deliver you up to tribulation or persecution, thelpsin, and they'll kill you. And you will be hated by all the Gentiles because of my name. Dia tu onoma mu. Because of the name, my name. Thanks, Peter. I got a little high there. I was a little bit, Matt Nathanielson's song, Come On Get High. I was really high. I hit that high note. I hit the high notes. Love lift us up where we belong. The high notes. All right. So look, birth pains, earthquakes, wars, rumors of wars. Don't be alarmed. People saying they're the Christ, people sitting up, people stressing you out, all that stuff. And all of it is just the warm up. Then they're going to persecute you. Then they're going to persecute you. All right. Then they're going to try to kill you. And they're going to do it for my name's sake. And many will fall away. Verse 10. Many will be scandalized. Scandalisthesontai. They will be passively aorist, past tense, scandalized. Future. That's a future. Excuse me. They will be scandalized. Future passive. That's that TH that threw me for a loop there. It was the present tense ending with the TH as the future passive. Yeah. Why will they be scandalized? Because the world's coming to an end. Why? Because they're coming after us. Again, you'll see why some liberal theologians think this book was written after 100, even because of the persecution. The Roman persecution, because it so nails the Roman persecution right. But again, I'm going to tell you, come closer. He knows these things because he's God. He knows these things because he's God. And many will be scandalized, and they will turn each other in. They will hand each other over. They will betray each other and hate each other. And this happened. This happened in the early church. Families turned on each other. They turned the Christians in. Pastors fell away from the faith. They handed the books over. This happened. But before this, the earth shook, the rocks split, and a mini last day occurred. We'll get to that. He's out. He's back asleep again. Hey, buddy. Want this treat? We don't do over-the-shoulder catches, buddy. And many false prophets, pseudo-prophetai, false prophets, lying prophets, will arise, and they will deceive many. And because anomion, because antinomianism or lawlessness will play through thank you. A little problem there. That is an aorist passive infinity. Will be increased. So lawlessness, doing whatever you want to do, living for yourself will increase. Sugesthai. The love of many will grow frigid. Will go cold. It's going to get frigid. It's going to go cold. Why? Because everybody's living for themselves. Because everybody cares only about themselves. And so love grows cold. That's a song by the Frights, but I won't sing it to you. So like you all of this is sort of stone rolling down the hill, which appears to begin with the end of the world as they know it, the destruction of Jerusalem, wars, rumors of wars, people thinking that they're the bomb diggity. Everybody looking out for themselves. Lawlessness. What does lawlessness actually look like? Well, what lawlessness looks like is I can do whatever I want. But it's more than that. It's I'm the most important person. It's the religion of you need to love yourself before you can love others. All right? This is the religion of you need to know you, and then you can know others. It's a self-centered, way to go, Andy. It's a self-centered religion based upon, Andy, was it this beautiful purple Luther seal shirt with this wonderful Dare to be Lutheran back? Was it? Store.higherthings.org. But I want you to sort of take this in, because these things happen over time, over and over again. Lutherans are amillennialists, which means they believe the stuff that is described in Scripture in the clearest places and then interpret Revelation through that. They don't believe in a literal 1,000-year reign of Christ. They believe that these things that are happening right now continue to happen, and that we should expect the last day at any time, and that we should be looking for Jesus, because these are the times we live in. So when someone says to you, Pastor, do you believe that this pandemic is a sign of the last day? Well, insofar as you should be expecting the last day anyway, yes, this pandemic is a sign of the last day and judgment from God. But is it specifically the end? We'll see. Well, what we do know is that all of these things mentioned here are going on now. Oop, we're on patrol. Somebody's here, so we're on patrol. But we know for certain that the one who endures to the telos, that one will be saved. Sothesatai will be saved. And notice it's not the one who endures to the end might be saved. And what does it mean to endure to the end? It means to believe that Jesus died and rose again for you through all of this. To believe that God's going to save you through all of this. You going to bring me a toy, buddy? Come on back with a toy. Oh, we're picking out a toy. He's looking for his... Oh, we got the troll. Incoming. Well, bring it here, buddy. So I want you to sort of understand, above all things, that if these things sound familiar to you, they should. Because the Lord is coming soon. But are we in the last days? Well, every Christian should believe that they are in the last days. Yeah. No troll. Squeak toy. Well, bring it here, buddy. Can I see that? What is this? Is it a bug? I'll put it right here. All right. So, but what is most important here is that you remember that the one who endures to the end will be saved. But I got absolutely no doubt that when Titus's soldiers went over and busted through the wall and flowed into Jerusalem, they thought the world was going to end. When they started turning one stone on top of another, they were certain the world was going to end. When the barbarians rolled over the 7 hills of Rome, they were certain the world was going to end. When they struck the towers, I was certain the world was going to end. When Reagan called the Soviets an evil empire, the press was certain the world was going to end. And there you have in your life wars and rumors of wars. Hi, buddy. Can I have that? Oh, look at this squeak toy. I'll just set this squeak toy right here. But let me tell you some comfort about this. Okay? And the comfort is coming in the next 2 verses. Make no mistake about it. So we've got to make sure we do these next 2 verses. And the gospel, the good news, will be proclaimed. Future passive. There's that TH with a present ending. The gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed in all the whole inhabited earth as a witness to all the Gentiles. And then the end will come. So for the end to happen, the gospel has to be proclaimed to the ends of the earth. Peter says it this way: the Lord is not slow in keeping his promises, as some understand slowness, but he's patient with you, not wanting anyone to perish, but all to come to repentance. Why hasn't the world ended? Well, because Jesus still believes the gospel needs to be preached. It's not made it to all the ends of the earth. There's still people. Well, what about the people who never hear? Well, that's why he's sending missionaries to the ends of the earth. That's why he sent the Lesticos to Canada. They're missionaries. That's why he sent Fritchie to the Dominican Republic. That's why he sent I can't think of any more missionary names, although I know a ton of them. I've gone blank because sometimes they go in and out of the field. But the gospel still needs to be preached. And look at the grace of God, who doesn't want the world to end until everybody has an opportunity to hear the gospel. I mean, that's the kind of God he is. Hey, buddy. That's the kind of Lord he is. Yeah, Carol, that's why I sent you to Russia. That's what's going on. I want you to get this next verse done, though. I want you to get this next verse done. This is so important. And so when you see, this is a word, the bedelugma, the abomination of devastation, of desolation. The word the spoken word through Daniel the prophet. Esto in topos agia, standing in the holy place. Let the reader understand. And so there's an aside here. Okay? There's an aside here. All right? He now breaks the fourth wall. Hi, buddy. I thought I was about to get kissed. He breaks the fourth wall. Okay? He goes right through the fourth wall. And he says, look, when you see the abomination that causes desolation standing in the most holy place, like the prophet Daniel said, let the reader understand. It is very clear that he is saying to them, hey, Abraham and David Club, you know about the abomination which causes desolation. You know who that is? That's you, bud. You're no, you're not the abomination which causes desolation. Should he get the treat or not? All in favor of him getting the treat? Signify by saying aye. It's Missouri Synod. Let's vote. Uh-oh, you missed it. All right. When you see the abomination which causes desolation in the most holy place, let the reader understand. Okay? Okay, there you go. Bunch of eyes. The eyes all have it. Okay. Then let those in Judea escape epi ta ore, to the mountains. Let those on the those who are on the housetops, domatos, on the come down, not come down, excuse me. To take what is in their house. And let the one in the field not turn back behind to pick up his cloak or his outer garment. And the women with having in their womb basically that's alas for those with women in their room and those nursing in those days. 20. Pray that this will not happen, that your flight will not happen in the winter or the Sabbath. For then there will be a great mega tribulation which has not happened before in the cosmos or until now, nor will it happen again. And if those days were not cut short, no flesh, not all flesh, therefore no flesh would be saved. Because, but because of the elect, those days will be shortened. So I want you to sort of take this in. It starts, I was reading without you seeing the text. Now you see the text. So it starts with the abomination which causes desolation. And that causes you to flee and run. If you're on the housetop, don't come down for your stuff. If you're fleeing, if you're in the field, don't stop to go get your clothes. If those days weren't cut short, nobody would be saved. That's how bad it's going to be at the end. But those days will be cut short for the sake of the baptized, the elect, the chosen. Then if anyone says to you, look, here's the Christ, or there he is, don't believe it. False Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. So if they say he's in the wilderness, don't go. And if they say, look, he's in the inner rooms, don't go in. Don't believe him. For as lightning comes out from the rising, from the rising, and shines as far as the west, so will also be the coming, the parousia of the Son of Man. And then this strange land word of where there's a dead body, there will be vultures. So let's talk about this. Okay. The abomination which causes desolation. So I'm going to go 5 more minutes. The abomination which causes desolation was, when they hear that, they think of the Daniel the prophet, who makes reference to this. I believe he makes reference to this in Daniel. This is a vision in Daniel 7-12. And this vision is actually has a point of fulfillment. A lot of times, especially the radicals. Hi, Sandra. A lot of times, the radical sort of Christians believe that, and not radical in the sense of gospel, radical as radical reformation, more the extreme elements in Christianity, sort of believe that there's one fulfillment to a prophecy, and if that one fulfillment of a prophecy is, you check it off. And they put all those in the future. So they're looking for an abomination that causes desolation right now. But what I would say is, a good Jew, when they hear about the abomination from Daniel's gospel, they think to themselves, oh, well, that happened in about 66 BC. There was a revolt. And was it? I'm sorry. It was in 167, and there was a revolt, and the answer was that what happened was a guy. His name begins with an A. Antiochus, Antiochus. I always have to look up the spelling of his name. And so this guy, in about 167, invades Jerusalem. And he puts up in the temple a statue to Zeus. Now, the deal is, though, that Zeus looked like him. His statue of Zeus looked just like him. And this was the abomination which causes desolation. This is their take on it. That this happened when a guy set up a statue in the holiest place of the god Zeus, where God dwelt, the true God. The worst thing that ever happened. A similar thing occurs at the destruction of Jerusalem, 70 AD, when Titus is invading. There he is. Antiochus Epiphanes, the fourth. Don't forget the pig's blood. Yeah. But in 70, remember the general with the destruction of the temple. The Romans had enough. The Jews were in rebellion. The Jews are hiding behind their wall in their mountain city, screaming that the temple's going to save us. Well, the Roman historians say that around 68, they surrounded and began the siege of Jerusalem, which lasted a year, and their goal was basically to starve them out. But what ended up happening was the Jews were so rebellious that the Romans ended up breaking through the walls and invading the city. And I think it was Tacitus who says that the Roman general Titus is screaming at the soldiers who are so mad at the Jewish the folks leading the rebellion that they stormed the temple, and the Jewish generals screaming, not the temple, not the temple. And they were grabbing people, they were raping women, they were defiling the temple. It was terrible. They looted the temple. 2 years of the Jews standing behind the walls screaming the temple, and just totally disrespecting the Romans, ends with Rome knocking down the wall, invading the city, sacking it, and destroying it, basically. Is that the abomination which causes desolation? Sounds like it. But there's one more thing. There's one thing which is the most disgusting thing, the most defiling of the temple of God that has ever occurred, which is the precursor to everything which occurs in Jerusalem and afterwards. And what I'm going to tell you is my opinion. Okay? So if you go to your right commentary, the guy who's the big deal with Matthew nowadays, he's going to point to the destruction of Jerusalem and the events that follow. And he's going to point you to where Pastor Lustico pointed you to, which was Antiochus Epiphanes. But what I'm going to tell you is what I think the abomination which causes desolation is. And I think this because of the little sentence that he says, let the reader understand, and also all the events that follow afterwards. Okay, while you could say that the destruction of Jerusalem kicks the whole thing off, all the persecution and the like, the persecutions were actually occurring before then. There is an event which occurred, which is the most awfulest event which pertains to the temple of God. An abomination which causes desolation, which caused the sun to dim, which caused the rocks to split, which caused people to beat their breasts and believe that the end was near, which was the most awfulest sight of all time. Now, I don't have a problem with you believing that the abomination which causes desolation is a repeating event that occurred both in the 160s BC and in 70 AD. As long as you also acknowledge that it occurred also in 33 AD when the Son of God was crucified on the cross. There is no greater abomination which causes desolation than the death of the Son of God. When you see the death of the Son of God as the abomination which causes desolation, you will never become a millennialist. You will never look for some time in the temple later on where some bad thing occurs in the temple. You're never going to look for that because you've already seen it. It occurred when the Son of God died. Destroy this temple and I will build it back up in 3 days. They defiled that temple. Naked, hung on a cross, cursed for all to see. And there's no event in recorded history that is worse than the death of Christ. Sorry, nothing. And I say this as part Jew. None of it is worse than God dying. Because in that event, a mini last day occurred. The rocks split. People fled the town. They looked up at the heavens and they wanted the world to fall down on them. The sun became dark from 3 to 6. The heavenly bodies were shaken. And the Son of Man, in all his glory, came on a cross, his kingdom, with a thief on his right and a thief on his left when he came into his glory. All the stuff that follows, all of it, follows the death of Christ. You want to write a 4-page single-space letter saying that I'm wrong? I'm okay with it. But how can you look at the death of Christ and not see a small last day? And if you see a small last day in the death of Christ, then the last day that comes, where the rocks split again, and the heavenly bodies are shaken again, where people are like, run for the hills. It doesn't seem so bad because it's already happened. It's already happened in the suffering and death of Christ. And Lestico and Gene Small are right. The idea that you can somehow have a coming of Christ that's somehow hidden from people when he comes and fills the sky from east to west is just not possible. Not if you actually read the text. So if you have this stuff, you take the stuff from Revelation and make it literal, then you end up denying the Gospel of Matthew, which is the clearest expression of what the last day's like. The last day's like Calvary. The last day's like Good Friday. And when you understand the last day through Good Friday, all of a sudden the last day's not a bad thing. And you can pray every night, come, Lord Jesus. My 5 minutes became 7 minutes, and I'm at 52 minutes, which is going to cause me to get a short text from Sandra saying I went too long. Same bad time tomorrow, same bad channel, and we'll continue. We'll start with where the corpse is, there the vultures will gather, which is Lord's Supper talk tomorrow. Have a good day.